Roland Egger and I were bound by an arranged marriage of convenience. On our wedding night, I took the initiative to suggest sleeping in the guest room. Just as I was about to leave, a barrage of floating text suddenly appeared before my eyes. No, don't sleep in the guest room. He may look calm on the surface, but trust me, hearing that just shattered his world. Look at your husband. He's been secretly in love with you for 10 years. Thinking about how Roland Egger specifically wore a shirt clamp to seduce his wife makes me want to laugh. Turns out it was completely unnecessary. A shirt clamp? Now I was curious. I kind of wanted to see it. Welcome to History channel. Subscribe to follow all our latest adventures. Story begins. It was 10 p.m. After seeing off the last of our guests, Roland Egger and I left the old family estate and got into the car. My legs ached from wearing high heels all day. I couldn't help but reach down and massage them. What's wrong? Are you uncomfortable? Roland Egger, who had been reviewing documents, noticed my unusual posture. I haven't worn heels in a while. My legs are sore. Before I could say another word, a warm hand landed on my shoulder. I found myself gently guided into a proper sitting position. Then before I could react, Roland bent down, slipped off my high heels, and lifted my legs onto his lap. Realizing what he was about to do, I instinctively resisted. I can do it myself. I've got it. His grip on my calf was firm, stopping me from moving. His touch was gentle yet assertive. Within seconds, I stopped struggling. His massage was just the right pressure, and even the warmth of his palm was soothing. The discomfort in my legs quickly faded. Roland lightly rotated my ankle. If you're not used to wearing high heels, you should wear them less, or not at all. Roland, you don't get it. I disagreed. This dress looks best with heels. Your comfort is more important. But doesn't it look good? I tilted my head and looked at him. Our eyes met. His hands stilled for a moment before he looked away. It looks good. Satisfied with his answer, I playfully kicked my legs. But in doing so, I accidentally bumped into something. Something hard. Ow. Roland, your keys are digging into my leg. That's not my keys. He cleared his throat and muttered, "Don't move." Not keys? Then what was it? Before I could dwell on the thought, the car pulled to a stop. The driver's voice came through the intercom. "Sir, we've arrived." By the time I lowered my head to gather my things, Roland had already stepped out of the car. What the hell? He wasn't even waiting for me? How ungentlemanly. Hey, wait for me. Before I could finish, Roland leaned back in, picked up my high heels with 2 fingers, and then opened his arms toward me. Come here. I'll carry you up. I was lifted into his arms effortlessly. Looking up, I had the perfect view of his sharp jawline and the smooth curve of his throat. His shirt was buttoned all the way up to the first collar, just below his Adam's apple. Roland Egger had always had an air of cold detachment. But in a formal suit and tie, his aura was downright untouchable. The perfect model. As an artist, I couldn't help but mentally sketch out the lines, tracing his features in my mind. What are you daydreaming about? I snapped out of my thoughts, my brain still full of color palettes. Oh, nothing. Roland didn't press further. If you're tired, rest early when we get home. When we finally arrived, I slid out of his arms, feeling slightly guilty for making him carry me. My suitcase was already placed beside the couch. Its bright stickers stood out awkwardly against the minimalist decor of the apartment. Much like me and Roland. On paper we were in a business marriage. But in reality, my family had never been on the same level as the Eggers. The only reason this marriage happened was because, years ago, my father had done Roland Egger a favor. Now, he was using that debt to force Roland into marrying me, to save our family from bankruptcy. A month ago, Roland was just an older brother figure. Distant, polite, and unfamiliar. Now, he was not only my husband but also my family's benefactor. Of course, he was strictly to be admired from afar, not to be touched. So when Roland reached for my suitcase, I immediately grabbed it first. I'll take it. I'll just sleep in the guest room. Roland paused. Then, instead of arguing, he took the suitcase from my hands. You'll sleep in the master bedroom. It's already been prepared. His voice was slightly lower than usual. I'll take the guest room. And with that, he walked off with my suitcase. I had no room to protest. Trailing behind him, I opened my mouth to say something. But then, suddenly, floating text appeared in front of me. No. Roland Egger, don't sleep in the guest room. You're already married. Just make it happen. Do it for me. As if. These two are going for the respectful distance trope. No way there's going to be anything spicy. He looks calm, but trust me, hearing guest room just shattered his world. What the hell just flashed past my eyes? Was I hallucinating? I stared blankly at the floating words, so distracted that I walked straight into the doorframe. Before I could react, Roland had already pulled me over to the bed and made me sit down. Are you okay? His warm palm landed on my forehead, brows furrowed in concern. I shook my head, too hard apparently, because the next second, I gagged. Roland immediately straightened. I'll call a doctor. No. I stopped him. I'm fine. Calling a doctor over just because I walked into a door? How embarrassing would that be? They'd come just to laugh at me. I grabbed Roland Egger's hand, my gaze firm. I'm really fine. I just want to sleep. The embarrassment was too much. I desperately needed some time alone. Stretching both hands toward the door, I issued my ultimatum. Roland, go rest already. As soon as I said it, more of those strange floating texts appeared. Ha 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 ha, dumb daughter. Roland Egger, how can you resist such a clueless wife? Can you all have some restraint? These two aren't even the official pairing. Thinking about how Roland Egger specially wore a shirt garter to seduce his wife cracks me up. Completely unnecessary. What do they mean, not the official pairing? Roland and I were legally married. I honestly couldn't make sense of what these messages were talking about. Maybe I really did hit my head too hard. I shut my eyes tightly, hoping the annoying text would disappear. 1 second later, I snapped them open again. Wait, what? A shirt garter. My gaze dropped to Roland Egger's long legs. Beneath his perfectly tailored suit pants, there was a faint, raised outline. He seemed completely unaware that I was staring. As he bent down to pat my head, the movement made his pants tighten around his thighs, accentuating the subtle yet unmistakable shape of a strap. So those messages were real. By the time I came back to my senses, Roland was already turning to leave. Wait. I reached out, intending to grab the hem of his suit jacket. But in a moment of sheer thoughtlessness, my hand bypassed the fabric entirely, landing directly on that hidden strap. Roland's entire body tensed instantly. He turned back, staring at me in shock. The heat of his gaze made my brain short-circuit. My fingers released their hold. In the stillness of the room, the only sound was a crisp snap. Before I could retreat, my misbehaving hand was caught. With a gentle tug, Roland pulled me straight into his arms, his broad palm pressing firmly against the small of my back. Vanessa. His voice was smooth, rich, and naturally magnetic. But right now, it carried a husky edge that sent a tingle down my spine. W. Before I could make up an excuse, he leaned in and kissed me. A fleeting touch. Testing, hesitant. By the time I realized what was happening, my hands had already hooked around his neck. Oh my God. Vanessa Rogers. You are out of control. Roland paused for a split second before deepening the kiss. At some point, he carried me over to the bed and settled me on his lap. The moment I felt something firm pressing against my thigh, I pulled away, panting. Your keys are digging into my leg. Roland released me, his voice raspier than usual. I told you, it's not my keys. Then, it was really the shirt garter. Roland. I swallowed. I want to see it. Can I? The room fell into a silence so deep I could hear my own heartbeat. Roland's expression flickered through several emotions before he finally spoke, his voice low and unsteady. Vanessa. I just want to look. That's all. I quickly reassured him, afraid he'd refuse. I just want to compare it with the others I've seen. Roland frowned. You've seen others? No, I haven't. That's why I can't draw them properly. Draw. Roland looked as if he was struggling to form a proper sentence. You regularly draw male subjects? His tone was cautious. Right. He knew I was an artist, but he had no idea what kind of art I focused on. Aha! Lately, I've been working on illustrations featuring shirt garters. I wanted to ask you to be my model. Would that be okay? I had looked through countless reference photos online, but something always felt off. I remembered Roland used to play basketball when he was younger. His legs were probably lean and powerful, the muscle definition just right. With his cold and restrained aura, paired with the refined yet subtly suggestive appeal of a shirt garter. Just picturing it made my heart race. So, what you want to see is my shirt garter? Yep. I nodded enthusiastically. For some reason, Roland visibly relaxed. He pressed his fingers against his temple, sighing almost imperceptibly. I thought you meant. Ha! Meant what? Ha 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 ha, my god. Roland Egger totally thought she wanted to see his. You know. Roland Egger. I don't get it, but. Fine, you can look da. Seeing the floating text and recalling the complicated look on Roland's face earlier. I was mortified. I scrambled to explain myself. Roland. I wasn't talking about that. I was completely flustered. I really wasn't thinking anything weird. Vanessa. He interrupted me gently. His gaze was steady, unwavering. We're married. I nodded. I know. Roland pressed his lips together as if weighing something in his mind. Then, without another word, he took my hand, guiding it toward the metal clasp at his waist. His next words, deep and intoxicating, wrapped around me like a siren's call. You can do whatever you want to me. Go ahead. Undo it. A pair of pure black shirt garters. One end fastened high on Roland Egger's thigh. Maybe it was the long day, or maybe his skin was just too fair, but where the strap pressed against his leg, there was a faint, almost imperceptible flush of pink. The other end secured the hem of his shirt, keeping the fabric taut, outlining his lean, narrow waist perfectly, and conveniently covering up something I wasn't supposed to see. But I saw it anyway. Unavoidably. Undeniably. A sight that was quite something. Vanessa Rogers had some shameless curiosity, but not much. About 30 seconds. That's all I lasted before my gaze darted away, my face burning. I hastily grabbed the bathrobe from the bed. I must have been truly out of my mind. Before I even registered what I was doing, I ignored Roland Egger's outstretched hand and blindly wrapped the bathrobe around his waist. I fumbled, flustered, trying to step back, only to be stopped by a strong arm around my lower back. Roland pulled me into his arms. Not looking anymore? Why yeah. I'm done. Oh God. Since when did I develop a stutter? This is enough? Roland asked, as if genuinely puzzled. You don't need to use it as a reference? I shook my head furiously. No need, I already memorized it. A low chuckle rumbled above me. Vanessa is impressive. I looked up at the sound of his voice, only to lock eyes with him. Immediately, a barrage of messages flooded my vision. Holy crap, where is this plot going? How did things escalate like this? I don't remember this happening in the original. Is this an adaptation? Has the author finally strayed from the path? Just go for it. Make it happen. Do it for me. I'm rooting for Roland Egger. Go big or go home, please. Shut up, I don't support non-canon pairings. It won't happen. The male lead is about to show up. As if on cue. Just as I was about to shamelessly push my luck, standing on tiptoe to steal a bit more advantage, my phone rang. The name on the screen made me freeze. William Vent Ham. I stared at it, momentarily stunned. Before I could even decide whether to answer, the call connected. A familiar voice came through the receiver. Vanessa Rogers. It's me. At the same time, The floating text exploded in excitement. The male lead has finally entered the scene. I only support the main ship. Reconciliation and a proper love story. This is what I live for. William Ventham truly loves Vanessa Rogers. He was just an idiot before. I can't wait to see his redemption arc. Honestly, I feel like William Ventham loves himself the most. Vanessa had to love him first for this, chasing his wife back story to even work. Not sure how I feel about it. Now that William Ventham is back, Roland Egger's long patient love story comes to a tragic end. Vanessa, please, just look at your husband. He's been in love with you for 10 years. The sheer volume of messages overwhelmed my mind. And then it all made sense. I was inside a novel. A book where I was the female lead. And the male lead was my ex, William Ventham. The same William who had left the country years ago. He was supposed to come back, completely disregarding my marital status, and chase me down. Eventually, we would overcome the so-called moral obstacles of marriage, and get back together. And Roland Egger? I suddenly snapped back to reality. Where was Roland Egger? As if responding to my thoughts, a message glided smoothly across my vision. Woo-woo, my poor Roland Egger. He's curled up under his blankets right now, not smoking, not drinking, just sleeping. Who can understand the emotional roller coaster he went through tonight? No, he's actually... Asterisk 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 asterisk. What was with the glitching text? I ignored it, but the mere thought of Roland Egger curled up under the covers made me laugh. Softly, unconsciously. On the other end of the call, William Ventham must have caught my laughter, because he mistook it as a response to him. I'm back in the country, he said, clearing his throat. Do you want to see me? William Ventham and I had been high school sweethearts. Same class in high school. Same university later on. Back then, I wasn't particularly interested in academics. I needed a goal to motivate me to go to school. William Ventham was the most attractive guy in our class. So I spent every lesson drawing him. After the college entrance exams, when we were all packing up our books, my sketchbook accidentally fell open. Right in front of the entire class. Everyone started teasing me about having a crush on him. And well, I figured they were probably right. So I confessed. Our breakup was simple. William Ventham thought I couldn't keep up with him. While I was dreaming about our future together, he had already secured an overseas graduate school offer. I hadn't even known. When I confronted him, he acted like he had nothing to apologize for. Vanessa, going to business school has always been my goal. No matter what, I have to make it happen. You're an art major. We couldn't have applied to the same program. You never grow up. You're always fooling around. I don't have time to waste with you. At the time I had been furious. Fine. Chase your big ambitions. But why did you have to step on me to do it? He always said I was unserious, aimless, going nowhere in life. But I wasn't bad at what I did. And then it hit me. Had he ever really liked me? He had never cared about my dreams, my passions, or my life. Vanessa? Are you listening? His voice dragged me out of my thoughts. I'm at our old school, he continued. At your favorite donut shop. William Ventham, I cut him off. I'm married. And I don't even like donuts. And with that, I hung up. Screw reconciliation. I refuse to be some clueless heroine. I'd rather never see William Ventham again. Life has a way of playing cruel jokes. The more you want to avoid something, the more it comes right at you. It had only been a few days, yet I had already received a message from Kiki Brown. Our high school homeroom teacher was retiring, and they were organizing a reunion to celebrate. And a reunion meant one thing. Running into my gloriously returned ex. I rolled around in bed, letting out a few useless groans of frustration. Until there was a knock at the door. Roland Egger's voice drifted in through the small gap. Vanessa, is everything okay? I hadn't seen Roland in days. On the second day of our marriage, he had flown out for a business trip. Roland Egger had always been busy. Initially, I'd thought a simple marriage certificate was enough, but he had insisted on hosting that family banquet. A way to show all those circling my father's company like vultures that the Rogers family now had backing. Somehow, I had almost forgotten about the strange floating messages from that night. But hearing his voice now, they came rushing back in vivid detail. Especially that one message. Daughter, just look at him. Roland Egger has been in love with you for 10 years. I turned toward the door. 3 seconds later, I yanked the blanket over my head, my ears inexplicably burning. At breakfast, I found myself staring at Roland Egger as he spread cream cheese on my bagel. Whether it was the custom-tailored suit or the effortless grace in his movements, everything about him exuded elegance and restraint. Had this man really been in love with me for 10 years? Had he secretly liked me for a whole decade? Even back when I couldn't understand his math lessons and frustrated him so badly he fainted? That year, Roland was a junior in college. During his winter break, he had been tasked with tutoring me in math. I was preparing for my senior year, and though I had already secured my art exam scores, I still needed to pass my general subjects. I was trying. But no matter how hard I tried, I always ended up falling asleep in the middle of his explanations. One day, I felt guilty for wasting his time and told him, Roland, maybe you should just give up on me as a student. I'm really dumb. I just can't learn it. Roland only ruffled my hair and said, I was speaking too fast. I'll slow down, and you'll listen carefully. Don't ever say you're dumb. I knew he was just trying to comfort me. But then one day, after explaining spatial geometry to me 4 times, he suddenly collapsed. In the end, it was diagnosed as acute appendicitis. But the doctor also mentioned he had chronic insomnia and severe stress. I still felt incredibly responsible. For the next few days, I brought him homemade soup out of guilt. Not long after, he left for overseas studies. And we barely spoke again. Until our reunion. You don't look well. Haven't been sleeping? A slice of ham landed on my plate. Roland's voice was casual, like he wasn't paying too much attention. I snapped out of my thoughts and answered absent-mindedly, Ma'am. I haven't been sleeping much these past few days. His lips parted slightly, as if he wanted to ask something. But then he hesitated. Make sure you get enough rest. The moment he spoke, the floating messages began rolling in. This is why he's single. He never says what he really means. Roland Egger wants to ask but doesn't dare to. Actually, this was him testing the waters. From his perspective, Vanessa hasn't looked at him since she got that call from William Ventham. Yeah, he was heartbroken all night and drowned himself in work to cope. But wait. Why isn't Vanessa losing sleep over William Ventham? This plot feels off. These two are just talking past each other. Vanessa is completely oblivious, and she thinks Roland's just making small talk. If not for these floating texts, I never would have realized that Roland Egger had completely misunderstood the situation. And it was all because I had been too distracted by the messages that night to even notice when he returned to his room. I blurted out, I was drawing. It wasn't for any other reason. I got so lost in my sketches that I completely forgot about time and accidentally pulled an all-nighter. What was supposed to be a single drawing somehow turned into a full study on different poses. Cough. I reached out and poked his arm, my tone unconsciously slipping into something soft, almost coaxing. You gave me such good reference material the other night. I didn't want to forget, so I stayed up to sketch it out. Roland frowned slightly, his expression turning serious. Don't do that again. For some reason, he suddenly seemed unhappy. I thought explaining myself would make him feel better, not worse. Oh. Then I won't draw anymore. Feeling a little lost, I lowered my head and stuffed a piece of ham into my mouth, only to choke from eating too fast. A fit of coughing erupted from me. Roland immediately handed me a glass of water, rubbing my back gently. That's not what I meant. His hand moved in soothing circles, his voice calm. It took a moment before my coughing finally subsided. That's when I realized our posture was a little too close. With the way he was positioned behind me, it almost felt like he was hugging me from behind. My face grew warm, and I instinctively shifted away. But instead of pulling back, Roland leaned in just a fraction, bringing with him a fresh, crisp scent of pine wood. He didn't seem to notice our proximity. His voice was low, patient, almost coaxing. I meant you should stop staying up so late. I know you love drawing. I know the nighttime probably gives you more inspiration. But if you keep pulling all-nighters, it'll affect your health. I'm not trying to control how you work. Roland paused slightly, before adding in a softer voice. I just want you to know that whenever you need me, you can call for me. Anytime. I froze for a moment, thinking I had misheard. Anytime. I thought there wouldn't be a next time. After all that night, Roland Egger. He seemed completely unaccustomed to it. Warm fingertips brushed against the corner of my lips as Roland casually wiped away a stray drop of water. Vanessa, he blinked at me, his voice slow and deliberate. Didn't I already tell you? You can do whatever you want to me. That was when I realized. His eyes were really dark. Like polished obsidian. Maybe it was the result of not sleeping all night. My head suddenly felt a little dizzy. Oh. I get it, okay? I'm going back to sleep now. I stammered out the words before bolting from the table. Then, I ran straight back under my blankets, where my heart immediately started pounding. I had a great nap. When I woke up, I leisurely grabbed my phone and started scrolling. The moment I opened Instagram, I was bombarded with 999 plus notifications. I had nearly 100,000 followers on Instagram. My original characters were well loved, and there had even been publishing houses inviting me to release an art book. But I hadn't expected this drawing to go viral. Originally, I had just wanted to incorporate shirt garters into one of my existing character designs. But that night, on a complete whim, I drew a brand new character. The comment section was in chaos. New OC. We're saved. A fitted dress shirt, tie, vest on top, but vacuum shirt garters on the bottom. Help da. This new male lead is so handsome. His face is all cold CEO, but paired with a shirt garter, the tension is insane. Where's the female lead? Where's the female lead? Where's the female lead? Will she be his assistant? Office play when? Assistant? Yeah, no way. I tapped out a reply. Haven't decided yet, but it won't be an office romanced. As I continued scrolling, a familiar username caught my eye. Love Vanessa. Goddess, you're amazing. Can't wait for more. It was a long-time follower, someone who had been with me since high school. They usually called me Big Boss, but today they had actually changed it. I quickly replied, thank you, baby. Next piece, I'm drawing a suit kneeling pose. Come feast. Just as I hit send, my class group chat popped up. The reunion is this weekend. Final confirmation. Please send your name if attending. Since that phone call, William Ventham hadn't reached out again. But Kiki Brown told me that he had called her, asking if I was really married. I still remember the conversation. Vanessa, I've always wondered. You got married so suddenly. Were you trying to provoke William Ventham? Of course not. I had no idea why she thought that. I didn't even know he was coming back to the country. And we broke up years ago. I don't love him anymore. End of flashback. A new message popped up in the group chat. If you're attending, please send your name. I stared at the screen for a few seconds before typing. Vanessa Rogers. Back in high school, even my dad hadn't supported me choosing art. But our homeroom teacher, Ms. Brown, had been the first person to stand by me. She had even helped convince my dad. There was no way I was missing her retirement ceremony. About a second later, a new name appeared in the chat. William Ventham da. The floating messages exploded. My God, he's been holding back for so many days. He's finally making a move. Vanessa Rogers, your heart skipped a beat too, didn't it? I'm so excited for their reunion. Wait. Something feels off. I feel like I'm missing something important. Vanessa Rogers saying she doesn't love him is definitely just denial. When a girl says no, she actually means yes. When she says she doesn't love him, it means she does. I was furious. What kind of garbage logic was that? Not loving someone meant not loving them. Did I look like the type of idiot who would cling to a single tree forever? Thanks to these stupid messages, I was now genuinely annoyed about seeing William Ham. Even on the day of the reunion, I hesitated at the door of the private room, trying to avoid running into him alone. But apparently, the floating texts had overhyped things. William Ham arrived with a date. Amy, the girl he had gone abroad with. Aside from the brief eye contact when he first entered, his gaze never landed on me again. Originally, some classmates had been eager to stir the pot. But the moment they saw him with someone else, they all fell dead silent. Instead, the looks they gave me were filled with pity. I was speechless, but also completely relieved. I focused on eating and drinking, totally unbothered, until I stepped out halfway to grab a gift for Ms. Brown. In the hotel lobby, someone grabbed me and pulled me into a corner. A tight grip on my wrist. William Ham. His expression was dark. "Aren't you married?" His voice was tense. "Why did you come alone?" I struggled a little, but his grip didn't loosen. "You're hurting me," I frowned. "Can you let go first?" "Answer me." There was no rule about bringing a +1. Not everyone feels the need to show off like you do. Besides, Roland Egger was busy. His time was valuable. I wasn't about to ask him to play some pointless pretend game with me. I thought I had gone easy on him. But instead of backing off, William's eyes lit up for a split second. "You care?" I was stunned. How the hell did he get that from what I just said? "I don't care," I deadpanned. "I wish you both happiness." There were so many people in the lobby. I hated being dragged into situations like this. I tried pulling my arm away again. "Let go, I need to go back upstairs." But he didn't let go. Instead, he pulled me closer. "What are you doing?" I didn't even finish my sentence before William Ham crushed me into his arms. I was never with her. Never. And how exactly is that my problem? At this point, I was frustrated. "Okay, but I'm really married." "Let me go." His body stiffened for a second, then his grip tightened. "I know your family forced you into this. But I can help you now, Vanessa. Let's get back together." William Ham finally speaks his mind. Direct and to the point. Love it. Love what? Look at Vanessa Rogers. She does not look happy. Well, obviously. How can she be happy watching someone she once loved bring another girl as a date? Or maybe, hear me out, she's upset because William Ham doesn't understand words? She already said no duh. This guy is terrible. Bringing another woman just to provoke Vanessa? Disgusting. Oh my god. My poor Roland Egger saw everything. He waited for 3 hours, and this is what he walked into. What? Roland Egger was here? Where? And he waited 3 hours? Why didn't he say anything? Where's your voice, Roland Egger? My heart raced as I desperately scanned the scrolling messages. Meanwhile, William Ham wouldn't let go. Fine. I stomped on his foot, hard, before shoving him away with all my strength. What the hell is wrong with you, William Ham? I really don't like you anymore. What you're doing is completely disrespectful. Finally, the hotel manager noticed the commotion and rushed over, asking if I needed help. Without hesitation, I pointed straight at William Ham. He's harassing me. Then, I ran for it. I scanned the entire lobby for Roland Egger. Nothing. Damn it. My phone suddenly died. This scene is so satisfying. Is this what they call torturing the male lead? Wait. Vanessa Rogers really just left? She really hit him with the most painful words. Will she regret this later? Why do I feel like she's looking for someone? Is she looking for Roland Egger? Too late. He left. The moment he saw them hugging, he walked away. I froze. And then I grabbed the nearest hotel staff. Power bank. Fast charge. The moment my phone powered on, I dialed. The call connected instantly. Roland Egger's voice came through, low and slightly startled. Vanessa? Where are you? A pause. Then, I closed my eyes. I don't care where you are. Just come pick me up, Roland. I miss you. He arrived faster than I expected. Or maybe, he had never actually left. Barely 3 minutes after the call ended, I was squatting by the hotel entrance when a familiar Maybach pulled up. Roland Egger rushed to my side, crouching down. What's wrong? Are you hurt? I looked up at him, my vision slightly blurred. He immediately reached out to help me up. Vanessa, talk to me. Roland, my voice was hoarse. I don't like William Ventham anymore. I'll never get back together with him. Then, I threw myself into his arms. No one believes me. But you will, right? I had told William Ventham. I had told those floating messages in my head countless times. But no one ever listened. For the first time, I felt like I was fighting against the entire world. And I was exhausted. Roland froze. Then his arms tightened around me. A quiet, almost desperate embrace. Okay. In the back seat of the Maybach. I extended my arm in front of him. Under the dim lighting, faint bruises were visible on my wrist. You were in the hotel, I whispered accusingly. So why didn't you show up? My voice trembled, on the verge of tears. He grabbed me so hard it left marks. According to those damn floating texts, Roland only saw the part where William was hugging me. From his angle, it probably looked romantic. No visible struggle. Like some kind of lingering affection. But I still wanted to get a reaction out of him. Something flickered across Roland's eyes. Pain. His fingers shook as he carefully traced over my wrist. I'm sorry, he murmured. I didn't know. You also don't know that you love me? I cut him off. 10 years. Roland. You still don't know? Why shit did Vanessa Rogers just say that out loud? It broke the damn wall. She said it. I knew something was off about Vanessa lately. I was watching the censored version of this story. Plans have changed. We are now officially shipping marriage first, love later. William Ventham is basically deaf. Vanessa literally told him she doesn't love him, and he still tried to force her back. Roland Egger won't admit it. Second male leads never go out of character. Please, Roland, just take her. Roland stiffened. His eyes locked onto mine, utterly stunned. At that moment, his 10 years of silent love had nowhere left to hide. I had achieved my goal. With a smug smirk, I slapped his hand away from my wrist. If you're not gonna talk, just donate your mouth. I don't want to hear excuses. Then, I shut my eyes and pretended to fall asleep. No matter how many times he called my name, I ignored him. The moment I got home, I locked myself in my room. Outside the door, Roland Egger knocked softly. Vanessa, open the door. Let me put some medicine on you, okay? Your arm will bruise by tomorrow. I know you don't want to listen right now, so just think of this as me talking to myself. Vanessa, back then, you were too young. If I had let myself think of you in any other way, I would have felt like a complete creep. Fine, I was a creep. The day you graduated high school, I went to your school. And I saw you confess to William Ventham. I knew you really liked him. You filled an entire sketchbook with drawings of him. Even your breakup was because of him. Here we go again. So just because I didn't initiate the breakup, I was supposed to stand in place and wait for him forever? I leaned against the wall, unable to stop myself from snapping back at him through the door. So just because I got dumped, I'm supposed to never move on and love him for the rest of my life? Hell no. A pause. Then, Roland's voice softened, as if soothing me. Okay. Don't love him. I was being narrow-minded. I'm sorry. Roland knocked again, his tone almost pleading. Vanessa, just open the door. After that, you can punish me however you want. Please. His voice gradually blurred. My mind drifted. Somewhere in between sleep and consciousness, I felt someone lift me up. Soft sheets enveloped me, cool fingertips brushing over my skin. The faint scent of medicinal ointment filled my nose. When I woke up, I was alone. In the living room, Roland Egger sat on the sofa. As soon as he saw me open the door, he stood up and walked over. "You're awake." He was dressed in a pure black bathrobe, droplets of water slipping from his damp hair, trailing down the faint curve of his collarbone. For a second, an inappropriate thought crossed my mind. This man is dangerously sexy. But as he stepped closer, I realized he was cold. Deep winter air clung to his skin. "Why didn't you dry your hair?" "Didn't want to wake you." "Then why aren't you in your room?" "The living room is warm." "What about the heater in the guest room?" "It probably broke. No one's used it in a while." So from the day we got married, Roland had been sleeping in a room without heat? He reached out and patted my head. "Go back to sleep. I'll stay here tonight." With that, he gently guided me back into the bedroom and turned to close the door. Guilt gnawed at me. "Sleep in the master bedroom." "No need." He smiled faintly. "Your brother doesn't get cold. But if you sleep in the living room, you'll catch a chill." "I don't get cold either." "Vanessa, be good. Then just sleep together." I grabbed his bathrobe, forcing myself to sound calm despite my racing heart. "If we sleep together, we won't get cold." Barely half a second. I was lifted into the air. As the door clicked shut, Roland pressed me against it. His breath mingled with mine. His lips hovered just inches away. "You know what happens when you say things like that, right?" My heart pounded. "You're acting different." Roland chuckled. "This is how I've always been. I just don't feel like pretending anymore." "Oh. Still daring to say we should sleep together?" A small night light flickered in the room. He had installed it a few days ago, because I said I wanted one. In the dim glow, Roland's eyes were so deep they threatened to pull me in. "Answer me," he murmured, fingers lightly pressing my waist. "If you don't, I'm going to kiss you." I shut my mouth. And my eyes. But no kiss came. When I peeked open my eyes, I saw him smirking. The realization hit. He was messing with me. I scowled. "You." Before I could finish, he silenced me. With a kiss. Soft, lingering, until a familiar sensation brushed against my thigh. I frowned and reached down. "Why are you wearing a shirt garter under a bathrobe?" Roland caught my wrist midair, his voice strained. "That's not a shirt garter. Don't go lower." For some reason, anatomy lessons suddenly flooded my brain. I blinked. "Roland, I want to see." He covered my eyes and kissed me again. "Feel instead." The next time I woke up, I was alone. Soft morning light streamed in through the curtains. Then, as expected, the floating text came rushing in. "What the hell?" They cut it again. "It's obvious. Roland Egger's bathrobe is still under the bed." Oh my God. He finally ate. He finally had his meal. And Vanessa too. They both ate. Where's the uncut version? This sacred ritual should have happened on the wedding night. And we all know who ruined it with that damn phone call. Plans have changed. We are officially shipping marriage first, love later now. Canon pairings don't exist if they don't make me happy. I'm crying. I was on team male lead. Does he still have a chance? Excuse me, in a female lead novel, the real male lead is whoever she chooses. Understand? I gave the last floating comment a mental thumbs up. Then, dragging my sore body upright, I called out, "Roland Egger." He pushed open the door and immediately pulled me into his arms. A familiar, fresh pine wood scent enveloped me. "Do you feel uncomfortable?" I shook my head, lazily tracing circles on his chest with my fingertips. I barely made a few strokes before Roland caught my hand. "Behave," he said, his tone indulgent. "Get up and eat. 3 meals a day on time." Ever since that night, Roland had been strictly monitoring my daily schedule. Before he left for work, he always made breakfast. For lunch and dinner, he had a private chef deliver meals on time. Yesterday, before the reunion, Roland had even called me to ask what I wanted for dinner. Said he'd be coming home early to cook for me. And what did I do? I told him I had a high school reunion. Missed out on a delicious meal. But gained another delicious meal. So, honestly, not a bad trade. Roland, I want to eat your cooking for lunch. All right. What do you want? Coconut chicken soup. Okay. With zero hesitation, he scooped me up and carried me to the dining room. As we passed by the floor-to-ceiling windows, I finally noticed the wet patio, the scattered fallen leaves. It had rained last night. Windy too. It hit me. This house has really good soundproofing. The next time I saw William Ventham was at Ms. Brown's official retirement ceremony. Since that night he had called, texted. I hadn't answered. Just blocked him. He didn't know where I lived now. Asked Kiki Brown, but she didn't tell him. After the awards ceremony, it was inevitable. He intercepted me. But at least he wasn't being physically forceful this time. Sorry. I was too impulsive that night. I nodded. Apology accepted. I couldn't reach you. I blocked you. Don't call again. Silence. I was about to leave when he suddenly said, Vanessa, I'm not leaving again. Before he could finish, my phone rang. Roland Egger. I looked up. A familiar car was parked outside the school gates. Roland Egger stood beside the window, casually holding up his phone and waving it at me. I didn't bother responding to William's words. Just told him, someone's waiting for me. I have to go. William followed my gaze. Your husband. He let out a derisive laugh. Do you love him? I thought for a moment. A lot. Super love. I do like Roland Egger. I'm a shallow person. He's hot. Polite. When we met again, we were already discussing marriage. It felt weird, so I barely spoke. Roland just ruffled my hair and said, Chatty little girl grew up. Got quiet. I remembered. Back when he tutored me, I used to chatter endlessly before every lesson. Then he'd start teaching. And I'd fall asleep in under 5 minutes. I remembered. Ever since high school, he had never raised his voice at me. Never mocked me for being bad at math. Never got impatient when I rambled. There had always been a natural fondness between us. So I repeated firmly, I love him. William's lips tightened, eyes turning red. I don't believe you. You only ever loved me. I let out a tired sigh. William Ventham, you're so weird. You ask me a question, and when I answer, you don't believe me. I don't understand you. You didn't love me that much back then. So why are you chasing me now? I did love you. His expression twisted. I know I cut him off. You had bigger goals to chase. You didn't want me holding you back. And I get it. Really, I do. But William, I met his eyes. I was never going to stand still and wait for you. I stopped loving you a long time ago. This is the last time I'll say it. Listen to me. This is how a female lead should be. NO2 Reunion Romance. Let her love whoever she wants. If men can choose their own ambitions, women can choose their own love. She doesn't have to wait for anyone. I didn't wait for William's response. I ran. Straight toward the person who had been waiting for me all this time. Roland Egger caught me effortlessly, pulling me into his arms. Why are you running? I wasn't going anywhere. I buried my face against his chest, rubbing against the soft muscle. Mommy Roland, I mumbled with a grin. His ears turned red. Don't call me that. We're in public. I hooked a finger through his vest. Roland, can you wear this outfit again tonight? I grinned. I still need reference material. Roland's chest rumbled with laughter. Anytime. Oh my God. Their future marriage is going to be so wild. Author, please stray from the original script. Give us more Reminder, the only thing we'll get to see are the sketches Vanessa chooses to share. After all, last time, she only had to glance at a shirt garter to memorize it. What exactly happened last night that made her unable to draw today? I flashed back to last night. To Roland Egger on his knees, only to suddenly pounce on me. Roland was a greedy cat. and my ergonomic chair had become his dining table. He pinched my cheek, pulling me out of my thoughts. Your face is red. What are you thinking about? I slapped my hands over my cheeks. You're not eating tonight. I'm behind on my schedule. When I posted the full new CP online, it exploded in popularity. A newlywed couple falling in love after marriage. Exactly the kind of trope people loved. Comments section. It's a marriage first, love later story. My favorite. Doing all the improper things in the most proper relationship. I'm obsessed. Actually, it's a long-time crush finally coming true. The male lead has been secretly in love for years. This ship is so good. Please draw more story panels this time. Love Vanessa. Goddess, you're amazing. I immediately pinned my reply to Love Vanessa. Thank you, baby. Love you, love you. Do you want to see a chest chain? I'll draw it tonight. Love Vanessa. Yes, goddess da. The next day, a publishing house, one that had been waiting for years, contacted me again. They wanted to publish my art book. This time, I finally agreed. It felt like a new step forward. The first person I thought of sharing the news with, aside from Roland Egger, was my longtime #1 fan. So I picked up my phone and sent her a message. Baby, I'm publishing an art book. Give me your address. I want you to be the first to get a copy. Love you, love you. Can't wait. Roland Egger was in the shower at the time. His phone was casually placed on the nightstand. It vibrated several times in a row, notifications popping up on the screen. It was 2 a.m. Worried that it might be something urgent, I called out. Roland, your phone has messages. The water stopped running. Check for me, he called back. Password's your birthday. Didn't even need the password. Instagram notifications were fully visible in the preview bar. And as I stared at the messages from Vanessa, I froze in place. Who is it? Before I could react, Roland Egger's arms wrapped around me from behind. He pressed his face into my neck, nuzzling slightly. Read it to me. I held back a smirk. Then, deliberately mocked in a cold tone. She says, love you. And she also says, can't wait. Roland's head snapped up. His expression indescribable. Spam messages? I raised a brow. Not some random girl? His brows furrowed. Call the police. Right now. I couldn't hold back my laughter anymore. Turning the screen toward him, I pointed at the sender's name. Love Vanessa? My #1 fan? You hid this well, Roland Egger. Realization dawned in his eyes. Meanwhile, I was having an existential crisis. I had personally picked out food for him. I had personally drawn his suit kneeling pose. I had personally suggested the chest chain. And what did I get in return? I had been feeding him first before he satisfied me. Before Roland could open his mouth, I shoved him onto the bed, grabbed the blindfold from the nightstand, and put it on him. Then, I reached for the chest chain I had already prepared. Vanessa. Don't move, I said sweetly. This is your punishment for keeping secrets. Then, I straddled him, determined to take back what I lost. Full of determination at first. But in the end, I was carried back from the bathroom, completely drained of strength. As for who ended up wearing the blindfold and chest chain in the end, I'd rather not discuss it. Roland moved closer behind me. Without thinking, I kicked him. Don't move. Pervert. Shameless old man. Roland wrapped his arms around me, completely satisfied. Goddess, he murmured, voice lazy with amusement. I've already accepted my fate. Let's see if you dare to provoke me like that again. I tried to squirm away, but he caught me effortlessly. I won't touch you, he chuckled, just a massage. A warm palm pressed against my lower back. The soreness eased instantly. I melted into his arms, half asleep. Darling. I mumbled sleepily. How did you even find my account? Roland paused. Back in high school, when I tutored you. I accidentally saw it. He hesitated. You draw very well. I looked up at him. You don't think it's a waste of time? Roland Egger lowered his head and placed a gentle kiss on my forehead. Why would you even think that? Beneath the covers, there was a slight rustling. He lifted his hand, cupping my face between his palms, tilting my chin up. Baby, I don't think you realize just how incredible you are. You got into the best art program in the country with the highest entrance scores in your major. You had tens of thousands of followers on social media back in high school. You achieved financial independence through your own work throughout college. Who's the short-sighted fool that said you weren't doing something meaningful? I pursed my lips, swallowing the lump in my throat. The one you respect the most. Mr. Rogers. My dad. And, of course, the so-called male lead of my story. Though, to be honest, their opinions never actually stopped me. I had always thought I was pretty damn great. It was just, when you hear the same criticism over and over again, from enough people, you start internalizing it. And maybe, just maybe, I had done the same to others, carrying my own biases about the way people think. When Roland Egger first told me to stop staying up late, I had immediately assumed he was going to say, "You're wasting your time." But instead, his touch was gentle yet firm. I should have known. Roland Egger was different. The world had barely scratched the surface of what this man was truly capable of. Roland paused for a beat, then said, without a second of hesitation, "That's his problem." Exactly. I nodded, feeling completely justified. He nudged his forehead against mine, his voice endlessly soft. But to be fair, he did do the greatest thing in the world. So maybe, just maybe, he's worth forgiving. I looked up into his eyes. What? He brought the best Vanessa into this world. And then he brought her to me. Roland Egger leaned down and kissed me. Light, tender. He said, "Vanessa, do you know? The first time we met you were 12. Your dad brought me home for the first time. And you emptied the family snack cabinet, told me to help myself. But I had to leave you at least one piece of chocolate. He said later when I tutored you, you'd be barely keeping your eyes open, fighting sleep. But you'd stubbornly insist. Roland, I absolutely cannot be the reason your legendary reputation is ruined." Then, the very next second, "You'd be asleep," he said later still. When all I could do was watch from a distance. When I could only send brief words of encouragement on your Instagram. You'd always reply enthusiastically. Like a little sun, radiating energy no matter how much the world dimmed around you. And then later still, you agreed to marry me. That night, I was so happy, I didn't sleep at all. Even though I knew, it wouldn't be that easy. But you kept surprising me. I lay in his arms, half asleep, just listening. Until at last he whispered, "Vanessa, I love you." I stirred slightly, mustering just enough energy to kiss his chin before murmuring softly, "I know. And tomorrow. And every day after." He could tell me again. About how much he loved me. The end. Thanks for stopping by. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos.